Free healthcare, college, income? Sure, why not? We don't even have to pay for it anymore. At least that's what they tell us. In this video, we're going to look at what history shows us about these types of policies. We're also going to look at how we can survive and thrive during these times of change. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back, Market Disruptors. So this is a Thursday edition. We talk about macroeconomics, we talk about investing, we talk about disruptive technologies, Bitcoin, etc. And today we are following up on last week's video where we talked about MMT. It's a new monetary experiment we talked about. MMT stands for Modern Monetary Theory. We're going to dig in a little bit into what history shows us and then kind of talk about how we can position ourselves. MMT is gaining steam. The reason why is, first of all, it sounds very appealing to a lot of people. Free stuff, right? Everybody wants free stuff. We want to see the economy stimulated. It sounds nice to think about being able to fund every social program that we have, especially when you can say that we don't even have to pay for it. We don't have to raise taxes. That sounds really good. This is radically different than what we have today. Now, already today we have basically unlimited spending, right? We borrow as much as we want. But the way that the system works today is that the government and the Fed are separate entities. So the Fed is the bank and the government borrows money from the Fed, which is why we have $22 trillion of debt. They say, we're not going to borrow anymore. Now the Treasury, which is the government, will just print the money. The fact that we don't have to borrow anymore from the Fed sounds great. The dream of having unlimited money, magical money, print as magical money as you want, it doesn't really sound like reality. So MMT is called Modern Monetary Theory. However, it's anything but modern. As a matter of fact, it goes all the way back to just the early 1900s, so over 100 years ago, and it was called chartalism. All right, so it was called chartalism back then. And back then, it was an assault on the gold standard because at that time, the world had seen massive prosperity for a few hundred years because the whole world had aligned on the gold standard. And then in the 1900s, we started leaving the gold standard. Chartalism came into play, and it was, like I said, it was really an assault on that. And basically what chartalism stated is that money does not have any intrinsic value, but it's given value by the government. So in the 1900s, $1 represented gold. You could take that dollar and you can go redeem it and get physical gold back anytime you want. We lost that and the dollar is off the gold standard. Now we have what is called a fiat currency. So a fiat currency means it's not backed by anything, which is basically exactly what we're talking about here, chartalism. And there's no intrinsic value. It's not worth anything. It doesn't represent anything. It's only valuable because the government says it's valuable. Can it do all it's claimed? Can it allow us to have as much money as we want and never have to pay for it? We have to understand money. And I talk a lot about money on this channel. So if you've been watching it for a while, you kind of have a little bit of a better understanding than most people. Money is not wealth. People think money is wealth. People think that if I have a lot of money in my account, if I earn a lot of money, I'm wealthy. But that's not true. Money isn't wealth. Money is a communication of value. Late economist here that I follow, Murray Rothbard, he says, what makes us rich is an abundance of goods, and what limits that abundance is a scarcity of resources. So when you think about like these countries, when you say this country is rich in resources, they have gas and oil and gold and minerals and all these things. They're rich in resources. They have water. They have food, right? That's what makes you rich, an abundance of goods. And those abundance of goods are limited by scarcity, right? Land, labor, and capital. Multiplying the coins will not whisk these resources into being. We may feel twice as rich at the moment because now we see money in our account. Clearly, all we're doing is diluting the money supply. Now all the people have double the money and they all rush out to spend this newfound money that they have. But what happens is supply and demand. Prices go up and they'll go up in double. So at the least, they're going to rise until the demand is satisfied and money no longer bids against itself for existing goods. The money is a measurement of us being able to get that. And if everybody got more money, everybody goes out to buy more of those assets, and then it raises the prices. So at the end of the day, we didn't get more wealthy. It just cost me twice as much to buy the exact same thing as it did before. And this is the big difference between inflation and deflation. So imagine overnight, there was this magic fairy or whatever, the government decided to pass this, and overnight, boom, on next Friday, they instantly double the amount of money in everybody's bank account.
Thank God.
So now all of a sudden, everyone's twice as rich. You wake up in the morning the next day and you have twice as much money in your bank account. That's awesome. Well, guess what? The money supply has doubled, but you're not really any more wealthy.
Wait a minute.
You didn't get more assets. You don't have more land. You don't have anything, right?
This isn't my world.
You have more money. So you could go buy the land. You could go buy the assets, but so does everybody else. Because no additional goods entered the market, we just have the money. All that new money is going to go chase the limited amount, the existing goods that are there, causing the prices to go up. So at the end of the day, it doesn't work. Now, if only I got my money doubled, I could go get more wealthy. If only you got money, if only a limited amount of people got more money, they could do that. But when it happens across the board, it just causes price inflation. And then there's no net gain there at the end of the day. The way that money works, the way value works, the way my labor works, asset, et cetera, those are just core laws. And we can also see from history, we can also see from other countries today. So if printing more money worked, then what the heck happened to Venezuela?
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a mistake.
I mean, Venezuela is in shambles today. For the last year, it's been just falling apart, and they've been printing more money than anybody. Yet the IMF, International Monetary Fund, says that Venezuela's unemployment rate is 40%. But they've been printing all the money. Why isn't everybody rich?
Tell me why.
They also said that their unemployment rate is looking to scale 10 million%.
What? What the fuck?
Nothing big.
What the fuck?
Their inflation's 10 million% because they've printed so much money. If it's not working in Venezuela, if it didn't work in Zimbabwe, if it didn't work in the Weimar Republic in Germany, why would it work now? If you're liking this content, I'm digging deep for you guys on this one. These are some very complex subjects. I try to make them super easy to understand so it's not as deep and complex as it could be. But if you're liking it, give me some thumbs up on this so I know what kind of content to keep bringing you. If you don't like it, just give me a thumbs down. Either way, I want to know what you're thinking. If you want more information on any parts of this, leave me comments down below. One thing that has been tried many times throughout history is alchemy. I mean, alchemy is basically trying to take worthless metal and turn it into gold. In the 21st century, there was a guy, John Law, and he created this company called the Mississippi Company, and he tried it. And he says, I'll tell you my secret. He said, I can make gold out of paper. But really what he did is he made rich people become poor people. He did do alchemy, but it worked the opposite direction. The Mississippi bubble became one of the biggest bubbles in history, and it wrecked France for an entire generation. It ruined an entire country for an entire generation doing a monetary experiment that basically the same thing, MMT, back in France in the early 1700s. And like I said, alchemy has been something that's been tried many, many times, and that's what MMT basically is. It's an eternal quest for a free lunch. It's an eternal quest to just print more and more and more, but it doesn't work today. It didn't work in the past. And I don't know what's going to change and what's going to make it work for the next time. History being any indicator, we know what's going to happen. We're going to see massive inflation, probably see hyperinflation. What are we going to do about this? What am I doing about it? And what are you going to do about it? One, Bitcoin is an awesome hedge against inflation. Assets are hedges against inflation. So what happens is as inflation goes up, it inflates prices. Now, if you don't own anything, you're not going to benefit from that. If you have any money, you want to buy assets, land, houses, those will all benefit from that. So as your money is losing value, your money is going down, but your assets are going up in value at the same time. And that's how we're going to protect ourselves. That's how we're going to survive and thrive. Now, eventually it comes to an end and then it crashes and then we see deflation. At that point, cash is a better place to be. But right now it's looking like inflation is on the horizon. And so be prepared. Bitcoin is an awesome hedge. It's made to be a chaos hedge. It cannot be inflated. Same with other assets like land and gold and things like that. So that's it. Hopefully MMT makes sense to you now. I think you'll be able to talk about it intelligently to other people. And that's it. That's what I got for you this week. To your success. I'm out.